Pleasure to meet you all. I used to meet all of the attendees usually every year in April through the Bayt conference. But this year they decided to make it virtual, which is a great idea. So I want to thank them first of all for these efforts that they are doing, and wish all of you Ramadan Kareem, and inshallah the year will go smoothly, inshallah, and all of these crisis that we are facing now, inshallah, it will pass over. Today, actually, I chose a very interesting topic about it's kind of positive or looking positive after the COVID-19, inshallah, passing. So what we are going to do? So are we ready to return to work? This is the main topic for us today. And as Zain, of course, introduced my name is Khalid Khedr. I'm working now as head of HR for Darwish Holding. I used to have interaction, but this is like to answer, and in the end, you can tell me, do you have a plan once all these measurements start to ease? Do you have a plan to return to work? This is a very important question to ask yourself. Now, imagine that the government said after 1 month, we are going to return easily, as some neighbor countries started to do. So we may follow, we may do the same. A lot of countries all over the world started to put a date or to assign a date exactly that we are going to return back to work. And gradually we are going to practice our life. Of course, it will not be the same life that we used to do before, but there is some change we are going to face. And I think one of our colleagues today is going to cover about change, to cover the topic about change. So do you have a plan for that? Are you ready to go back to work? First of all, we will cover the employers need to plan now for what's likely to be stage or return to the workplace. The workplace we are going to return to is going to be like stages, not directly, let's go to work, it's not a holiday. We are going to go back to work on the same time, on the same day. Of course, there is like stages to follow on returning to work. So these stages we need to cover today. Their guiding principles should be how organizations take care of their people and safeguard their health and well-being. Of course, we need to be careful about our employees. They are our assets. We need to make sure that when we return to work, that everything is ready for them to work. The environment is ready. And they are ready, know about everything, how to work, how to deal, how to conduct a meeting, how to shake hand. There is no shake hand, of course, but there is a different ways of shaking a hand, how it will affect the way of communication with other. Now we used to communicate shaking a hand, and if someone is not shaking a hand, you will find that it's a weird, why is doing like this? Now it becomes the norm of life. This is all affecting teamwork, affecting team building, affecting a lot of skills that we are going to face in life. As an HR professionals, we need to think about all of these aspects in details because we may face, and as you see that during this crisis, the people that have a contingency plan or able to manage the crisis or have a crisis management plan, were able to cope with what's going on. And others who don't have this plan actually fell behind and were not able to cope with what's going on and started very late. So the main 3 areas we are going to cover today. First one is managing returning to the workplace. Second, dealing with redundancies. Of course, we heard about a lot of redundancies, and governments also, or the laws allowed for some redundancies. And managing the holidays, sicknesses, and any other absences, how we are going to deal with them during the coming time. Let's have a poll. I would like to ask this question and have it get your feedback. Which type of arrangement have you been operating during this time? The business not rating at all? all stuff for loaded, all business trading on a limited basis, just essential workers are currently in work, business trading fully, but all stuff working from home. So let's have 15 to 20 seconds to answer it. Is it enough time then?
The poll is live and we'll be waiting for people to reply to it.
Okay. Do we get the feedback?
We are still getting.
Get. Okay. Time, I think, now is over. Good.
Yeah, so the poll is done.
Good. Will we be able to see it now?
Quickly. Yes. So I'm opening it. So the highest percentage we have is for business trading on a limited basis. Essential workers are currently in work. This is for the first question, which is which type of arrangements you have been operating.
Good. So the majority is business trading on a limited basis.
Yes. And the second comes, which is business trading fully, but all staff working from home. For the second question, how productive are you while working from home? We have the highest percentage, which is 43%, as productive as office. And we have somehow equal percentages, about around 29%, between more productive and less productive than office. But the main one is as productive as office.
Good.
For the third question, what is your biggest challenge while working from home?
We will stop it here then for a while, and
sure,
we'll come back to it with the next with coming slides.
Perfect.
Thank you. So for the first question, that most of the business trading on limited basis, that essential workers are currently in work. So the purpose of this poll is just to know the majority of people, which is actually, this is common all over the world, that people are going to work according to the nature of business. We can't unify the practices that we are going to follow in all the businesses and all type of businesses, because it's different. Some businesses now is high, some businesses low, some businesses earning more, some businesses not earning at all. So it's different from business to business. But in general, we have a certain guidelines to follow when we are going to go back to work in a regular basis. So when we are returning to workplace, we have to consider different aspects. As an HR professionals, we need to consider different aspects to follow. First of all, risk management. We need to safeguard the employees' health and minimize the risk of infection. Of course, there should be a guidelines of their employee health is first or top priority for all of us. And this is what actually is done through the government, that they take this decision to stop working to take these measurements. In some countries, to make a full lockdown or partial lockdown. So we need to take care of this issue. It's very crucial for us to continue work. Health against economy. So once the government takes the decision of health is coming first, and this is the right decision. So as an organization, as a HR professionals, we need to consider how to safeguard the employees' health and minimize the risk infection as much as we can. And meanwhile, make a safe return by having a base plan for returning to workplace, to start to communicate with all the employees or all the managers, and start to communicate how we are going to return with the plan. Not just it's an email sent, we are going back to work tomorrow, or we are going to back to work next week. We need to consider that it's by stage, and the phases of, or the importance of the people that is going back to work and gradually will join the workplace. Workplace actually is being present at the company's office and being directly in touch with other co-workers. Like now we are going to meet our colleagues. We miss them. We miss them a lot. And we miss the environment of work. And we are going to have meetings. We are going to have conferences. How we are going to plan these aspects? Are you going to limit the conferences or limit the meetings to be just virtual? Especially, I just saw now that Google started to have video meetings, just launched before yesterday. So, and Facebook as well, just all of them is competing with Zoom to have a virtual meeting. So are we going to have it like what we are doing now, or we are going to have it physical? And what is the effective way of having this meeting? Are we going to keep it the same, which is advisable actually to keep it for the first couple of months the same, to keep it virtual as much as we can. Because according to certain studies that the virus can return back very quickly or very fast, the same way that it spread it in the beginning. So a workplace, you need to organize it. You need to have the meeting room. The meeting room itself, if you are going to have it, you have to put a lines about the distance, 2 meters between each other, and each one to wear his mask, wear his gloves, and the workplace as well to provide such equipment to the employees like PPE, and we are going to cover it now. Hygiene key protection. Hygiene measures will continue to apply to minimize the spread of infection. As we covered, the same hygiene measure that we are talking about that we need to cover. Always there is a sanitizer, there is the fingerprint. Now they are replacing it with like a eye scanner. And this eye scanner actually can measure the temperature of employees. So you don't need to punch in and you have your finger from 1 to 1. So it will be, if an infection is there, so it will be spreaded. So you have to look for these devices and start to install it, and it will take time. So you need to prepare from now. So to have a key protection for the employees as much as you can to prepare the environment for the employees to work. As we understand, all of us as a HR professional, that the Maslow hierarchy, that you need to prepare for everything, the infrastructure for all of us to work. And this is one of the main criteria now we need to follow, that the employee should feel that you are really keen about him, keen about his health, and are protecting him. Okay. So, and all of us know that not all employees with the same level of education, or not all employees with the same level of understanding the dangers of such a pandemic. So we need to give them a training and briefing and orienting them of correcting use of PPE. PPE is the personal protection equipments, which is gloves, masks, and how to use it. And some people is using it in a way that is using it different times per day, or different days, which is not, they don't have the orientation for it. The infection control orientation. And some companies actually started to look for infection control specialists to be like to orient all the employees, to have him in place, to have him at workplace, to just be to inform employees what to do and how to wash their hands and how to follow these procedures. Remote meetings, as we covered, we encourage video conferences as much as we can because it's it will stay for a long time, and to minimize the contact with people, especially if there is a meeting outside. So let's have it through conference and see the effectiveness of this meeting. The change is coming on such issues by force, actually. And as we saw, China started to have the digital currency, which is a very initiative step from them to go further steps to eliminate any kind of infection through dealing with paper money. So one of the aspects actually physical and financial. Of course, all of us is worried about ourselves, and we have a certain physical concern about ourselves and about the beloved ones. So we need to understand from a human perspective that some of our employees has faced certain issues, depression, or let's say losing someone while he is not able to travel to him, and it's happened, a lot of cases happened like this, that their loved ones, their parents, or one of the people that's very close to them, they passed away in their countries and they were not able to travel to them, which is affecting them negatively. So as an HR professional, we need to consider the morale of the employees on such cases. And as well, some of our employees, their partners lost their job, and financially they become less than expected, which is also we need to consider all of these aspects while dealing with human being or human resources that we face. Encourage and support conducting a one-to-one return meetings. There is a term called return meeting that the manager should be aware about how to conduct a one-to-one return meeting to know from each one of his subordinates what's happened with him, or is there any special circumstances that they need to be addressed, and what is his feelings and how he's ready to go back to work and start to work again. Organizational culture, of course, it's one of the aspects that as much as we can to have like an eye of the organization to avoid any conflicts that may arise with the employees. As we mentioned, that not all of them is mentally or physically is ready to work. So there should be some tension, some pressure, and it may affect that a lot of conflicts may arise. So we need as well to address such issues in the beginning to avoid the conflict to get higher and higher. There is some legal consideration as well, not only human. From human perspective, there is a legal consideration. Like some companies asked their employees to write an agreement for renewing of contract or just reducing some of the allowances, or because of the financial crisis, of course, that they faced, and as well the leaves, they asked them to apply for a leave. So it should be written. As an HR, you should as well be aware of the legal consequences that may face during this time. Internal communication between each department, that you, for example, you take a decision that you make sure that all other sections is aware about it and is implementing it the way that you started to communicate. Reviewing policies, of course, not the same policies that we are following now will be the same. We need to review it from now with a perception of what's going to be applied and how this will change the policies. for any type of policies that you have, for travel policy, for business trip policy, for leave policies. So all the policies that you have, you need to review it again and have a look and imagine after 1 month or 2 months that we return back to work and we have a certain date in our mind that we need to return to give us a hope. So imagine how the policy is going to be on that time. Discrimination, of course, as we agreed that not all the people will return to work on the same day, on the same date. There will be gradually coming back to work. So who are you going to choose to come back to work, and who is not going to come back to work, and why? Justify it. You need to justify it. All people need to be aware why you didn't choose me to come back, or why you choose me to come back and you didn't choose any other person. What I have and what others don't have, so you choose them and don't choose me. We'll go back to Paul then, that we have working from home practices. So why we are asking this question now? Because a lot of us is working from home and we need to understand how is it affecting us. So are we going to continue working from home in certain cases that no need to come all of us to work, so we will be gradually. So what is the effect of working from home on the work productivity? So then please can you share the feedback again? Thank you.
So Mr. Khalid, the feedback for this one will be the question, how productive are you? Or so for this one is mostly as productive as office. So this is the highest, yes, with 43% as productive as office.
Great. Great. And second one then? What is the second
one? Second one, somehow less productive than office.
Less productive.
Yes. So, and third one, but comes closely, which is more productive than office.
So in all cases, we are doing well while working from home. And actually,
apparently.
Yeah, and actually it's encouraged. If you remember, guys, that before to work from home, not all the companies adopting this policy, especially in Middle East, and it was really kind of a lack of awareness for employees to work from home, and some of them is not following the proper way of working from home. I believe that all of us as an HR have providing training to all employees about working from home during the past time. What is the protocols of working from home and how to manage it. So I think this is one of the change in the policies of HR policies to follow, to start working from home and to start apply it for certain position. Next question. This is a statistic done by Forbes on some of the companies in Middle East, and the result, as you see, I think it's the same as you mentioned: 42% as productive as office, 34% more productive than office, and 20% less productive than office, and just 2% is not at all productive. So we are on the same track. And it's encourageable to have it in the policy and start working from home for certain positions, which is saving a lot for the employee and for the company as well. Right. Second, third question in the poll: what's your biggest challenge while working from home?
I think this one is easy to guess. So number one comes, which is the distraction.
Distraction, yes.
So distraction comes here as TV, social media, everything related to it, I guess. The second one is unstable internet connection. Yeah. And the third one is the surrounding environment. So as placed, same order. Number one, distraction with over like 43%. Second one is unstable internet connection with 29%, and third, 14% surrounding environment.
Great. So I think this is like an indicator for us as an HR professional to start to address such obstacles for all our employees and start to orient them on how to overcome such obstacles and start to be more productive while working from home to actually keep the harmony of life, work life that all of us were seeking since years. Since we start to work, we are seeking work-life harmony. But now it's there and you have the chance to work from home. So it's the time to prove it that you will use it in a proper way and start to make it more effective and start to make it as a effective practice to start to follow for a lot of organizations in the Middle East. So this is the survey results as well from Forex. We find that 21% is coming others. Others may include children, may include different activities or like distraction from TV is mentioned here as a distraction, but others mainly it was about children for the people who have children. So they are distracting them while working from home, especially because no schools nowadays. So as well, they are distracted with this. Second, coming with 18%, unstable internet connection, as you mentioned, was the second. Sorry, I missed it. It's 23rd for distraction by TV, the same that we are getting. 23rd for TV and 18 for unstable internet connection, 17 for communication, and just 21 for others and 19 for environment. The third poll,
I guess it matched our the first poll. So
exactly
what people actually are feeling, yes, it's exactly as per the study.
Exactly, yes. So how do you stay away from distraction while working from home? Do we get the answer for this question?
Yes, we will launch a poll now. Be waiting. Right, we have received the answers as well.
Great.
Okay, so how do you stay away from distraction while working from home? Number one is I work in a quiet and a separate room with 63%. And second comes I avoid staying in a common area with 25%. It's like mainly these two answers, almost everyone, except for like one or two who answered the others.
Good. So let's see the Middle East or Forex Middle East survey that's done. That they mentioned 64 that work in a quiet in a separate room. So this is the best practice actually to follow. We are mentioning this because it's the best practice to follow while we are working from home. To have a separate room and start working from a separate room will give you more concentration and you will prepare your room as an office. Okay. That. For short-term working, there should be there will be a sum of short-term working after the pandemic, like reducing working hours. We may start to reduce working hours while we are returning back to work. Start to look about reducing the working hours to be matching with the business, because maybe the opening will not be full day, will be like 6 hours, like what's going now actually for some of the companies. But now in Ramadan, this is the normal 6 hours. But after, it may contain to be 6 hours as well. So the working hours not be the same. And how is this going to be to affect everything else? To affect the manpower that you have, to affect the salaries that you are providing, to affect the salary scale that you are going to hire, will be the same, or you are going to review it? Or are you going to have a further furlough? You're going to give additional leaves, unpaid leave, or what's going to be the situation, or you are going to have redundancies, which is I don't prefer, or I need to minimize it as much as we can, because the market actually is really struggling by this, and it will be struggling more if we keep on laying off our employees. On dealing with other people, other group of staff, we have different kind of employees that we will face. You may find some employees that is self-isolated staff that is required to isolate themselves, as they are maybe in a way or another, they may get infected fastly. So they will not be able to come back to work. How you are going to deal with this kind of employees? Are you going to give them a leave, or are you going to allow them to work from home completely? Or what is your plan to work with this? Suffering bereavement. Some people will suffer, as we mentioned, from losing some of their relatives or parents due to either corona or different cases. Managing holidays. Now all of the employees having a lot of holidays, a lot of leave balance in their balance. Are we going to, they will ask about it after it's open, after the flights is going to back to normal. So are we going to give it to all of them suddenly, or are we going to ask them to apply it from now, or are going to ask them to schedule it, or are going to move it the next year? We know that the law that we can't move them more than 15 days from the previous year, unless you are going to allow that. So the maximum by law is 15 days. So what you are going to do to manage these holidays? So by last, I just want to avoid such things that we are going to see now on the first day back to work. How are your employees going to work? And let's see if it's going to be the same like this lovely lady, or it's going to be different through your orientation or communication. Thank you very much. Hope this presentation was on time, and hope you get use of it and start to be more enthusiastic on going back to work and ready to go back to work fully positive. And as you know, as an HR, we are the positive sign for all the employees. So we should be always positive in all the situation, all circumstances, and start to communicate a positive message to them, to start to boost their morale as much as we can. And thank you very much. Ready for the questions?
Thank you, Mr. Khalid, so much really for sharing all these insights. Please let us know if you have any questions regarding this presentation or anything that Mr. Khalid can answer in the Q&A section. And I have a question also, Mr. Khalid, that popped onto my mind. So basically, everyone is thinking now, post-pandemically, with whatever is happening right now, how basically you can bring a business back. So, you know, what happened now, it affected all businesses. And people, they are thinking, what can bring the business back, somehow back to life? So, what do you propose, or what do you think can help each and everyone on these companies to bring themselves back to life?
Yes, very very interesting question, and all the world actually is looking for it. How to go back to or bring the business back to norm, and how to start to have the economy running. Actually, as we know that the market is about demand and the need. So what is the need for the customers or for people now? That is the direction of all the companies to follow. Now, most of the companies that we're having, for example, they are working in retail and having e-commerce, they are on the top. Like Amazon, for example, now achieving a lot of miracles and achieving a lot of profit from what they were doing or what they were following. Alibaba, when actually it's open, they started to earn a lot. So the business model itself can be changed to what is the need for the market for the coming time. So we need to look what is our business specialty or the business models that we are following, and start to look from it from different perspectives on how we are going to satisfy the needs of our customers. And for example, as we said, the e-commerce for all the retail shops and so on. Like, for example, also hypermarkets even started to have online delivery and all of these aspects.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid. I agree with you. So, okay, we have also a lot of questions. We'll try to answer as many as we can. So we have another question, interesting question from Luigia Gianni. She's asking, will work from home become something that employers may consider also after the emergency to provide more flexibility to employees and facilitate work-life balance?
Yes, it's encouraged actually to be one of the aspects that we are going to follow. It will encourage the work-life balance, of course, because most of the mothers will be happy to stay at home and work from home. So this is very good. Also for fathers as well, to not have a discrimination. Also to be with their families for a long time. So it will be encouraged too much, and it will change the culture of the Middle East of working from home.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another question also. Anonymous attendee is asking, how long do you think the transition to normal, like life, business-wise and more, will take after this pandemic? How long will it take to have this transition?
To have a certain time frame, actually, we can't say it like this. It's just a time. We can't say any number of months, but of course, there's a lot of circumstances that will affect this answer, which is if they can find a medicine for the virus, or there is a vaccination for the virus, so it will accelerate the return back to work, and it will be encouraged to return back to work. But if the situation stayed like this for a long time, so the return to normal life, according to some researchers, they said it may take 1 to 1.5 years. So some companies all over the world to return to normal life, because there will be a precaution all over this time, unless we find something that to cover or to like a medicine for this virus.
That's interesting, actually, to spend like over a year under this circumstance will require actually a lot of efforts from HR side even to maintain the morale, as you said, Mr. Khalid. Exactly. Among employees. Okay, we have another question. Yes, it is challenging, really challenging. There was a question, like, as per your experience and as an experienced manager and professional, what is the first thing you need to do in the first day of work? Like, what will be the first thing companies will be doing?
First day at work.
First day. Yes.
Okay. First day at work, of course, I will prepare the environment to welcome the employees back. Having like, of course, it's not a party, but having like a signs in the company premises, the employees come and find certain signs and certain welcome notes for all the employees that we are happy that you are back to work. So something that we are waiting you and we were being best.
Okay, interesting. Okay, we'll have another question from D. Kanan. The question is, when do you think the hiring freeze should be lifted after this pandemic? Especially that at the moment, there are a lot of cost reduction.
Yes, hiring, actually, there was a very interesting topic I read before that the like stock market, people start to buy stock market while it's on lowest prices. So nowadays, if you can target the high calibers that laid off from another companies, it will be an advantage for you that you, first of all, you gain his loyalty or her loyalty, and second, you have the best, the one of the best calibers in the market. So it's up to the company to decide if they are going to take the risk and having these calibers according to the new business needs, or they have certain type of work. It may be open again for hiring if you change it as well the business model that you are following.
Okay. So also the last question we will take because of time. So Mr. Jaws Matthew is asking, this is a time also to HR to think of organizational change and culture. How HR can bring this transition more effectively in an organization?
Okay, if any change is happening, it should be through certain people, the leader of change. So these stars you need to keep, and you have like a regular meeting on how to start thinking about having a change on the culture, and it's a chance and a good time to think on evaluating your current culture, and with the new culture, which calibers you may need, which competencies you need for the coming work that you are going to have. So you can do that by identifying the stars that is going like informal, having informal reportees, and you will start to have a meeting with them. Of course, encouraged to be a virtual meeting, and start to discuss such points through the talents that you are having already.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khedr, Mr. Khalid Khedr, for this informative and insightful session and for answering all the questions. We apologize for everyone who asked a question and we couldn't answer for the time limit we are having. And some of the questions that can be answered hopefully during other sessions, like Mrs. Pascal Sabbar asking a question for QFC employment law. We will be having inshallah a session at 3:30 with the commissioner from QFC that can answer this question. So hopefully you'll be able to join this session and get your question answered. Thank you so much again, Mr. Khalid. Thank you for everyone, for the audience. It was a great session, and stay tuned with us for the upcoming sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Zain. Thank you, Sinan. Thanks for all of you, and Ramadan Kareem.